Hello Study Time team, my name's Aidan.
And I'm Catherine. Teacher and student relationships can be one of the more challenging aspects of high school. Maybe your teacher just won't give you a break, maybe you're struggling to get anything meaningful out of them, or maybe you just don't like them as a person.
Whatever the case is, this is something that comes up a lot and is a touchy subject with both teachers and students alike. Unfortunately, while you can't directly control your teacher's behaviour or how they treat you, you can take action to get the most out of your relationship. Now today, we're going to teach you how to deal with a teacher you don't get along with.
Okay, but you don't even like this teacher. Why should you put energy into this? Well, firstly, it's about getting what you want. You want to do well, be respected, or maybe have some accommodation from your teacher. Improving your relationship will help with this, while getting revenge on them will just worsen the cycle you're already in. Secondly, to build confidence in yourself. When you have a teacher you don't get along with, you feel helpless, and so you lose motivation for school and your own learning. It doesn't have to be this way. And finally, in life you'll have to deal with people you don't get along with a lot. Whether it's a uni lecturer, a manager, a co-worker, a client, or even a dodgy landlord. The earlier you learn how to deal with people you clash with, the better you'll be at handling those situations later down the track. Ultimately, what it all boils down to is that you need to take responsibility. You shouldn't keep blaming them. This doesn't mean it's all your fault, but you have to remember that you are in control of your life, and blaming others won't help you in the long run.
But how do we do something about it? To answer that, let's first ask the question, why are you finding your teacher difficult to work with? There are a lot of reasons why you might be finding your teacher difficult to work with. Maybe their teaching style doesn't work for you. Maybe they're inconsistent or have misled you. For example, telling you that maybe an internal is an excellence and it gets marked as a merit. Maybe they mark you unfairly or they're extremely blunt.
Look buddy, your attitude's pathetic, you're pathetic, and if you're gonna keep being like this, then get out and go to Macca's. Get out!
But every now and then there won't be just one or two things you don't see eye to eye on. Some teachers are just full-blown assholes. You know the type of teacher I'm talking about. The kind of teacher with deep-set psychological issues, and their primary coping mechanism is taking it out on vulnerable teenagers. Don't worry, we'll help you navigate both of these situations.
Now, is your teacher a full-blown asshole, or is it a temporary asshole moment? The problem as humans is that we tend to think people we don't get along with are assholes by default. We jump to the black and white without considering the many shades of grey that make up the human experience. Let's pick the example of when your teacher tells you that your internal is excellence and then they mark it as a merit. You might think that your teacher is an asshole because they lied to you or were careless. However, maybe it was an honest mistake. Marking can be ambiguous and it ranges wildly between teachers and schools. What your teacher first saw as an excellence might not have covered all the required bases in the marking rubric. By assuming the best of your teacher, you can actually begin to solve the problem. Here are some options. You could ask them for a remark. You could ask them for feedback about why the difference in grades exists so you could avoid it for future internals. You could address the situation for future internals. Hi Mr. Wilson, I noticed that you said my internal was an excellence, but it got marked as a merit. What can we both do in the future to make sure I get an excellence? Or you could ask your teacher more questions in the future, as well as getting tips for improvement, even if they say it's on track for excellence.
Well, okay, but what about the teacher who is blunt or doesn't seem to give you the benefit of the doubt? To break this down, first you need to unpack what you can own in the situation. Is your teacher actually mean, or is she just annoyed after the third time nicely asking you to stop talking? Take ownership of your bit, and what's left is the part you're not to blame for. Imagine that there might be a perfectly plausible reason for their actions. For example, perhaps something stressful is going on in their personal life that you're unaware of. This form of reframing is called reappraisal, and there's a science to back up its effectiveness as well. In a Stanford University study, students had their reactions analysed after being shown photos of angry people. After the first batch of photographs, some students were given reprisal training, where they were told to consider that maybe angry people in the pictures had just had a bad day and that their real source of their anger was someone else. These students were significantly less upset by the photos than those who weren't given the chance to reappraise. So if someone's being an asshole, but isn't always being an asshole, don't be too quick to judge. We should practice empathy and compassion where we can.
We can also think about triggers. Everyone has their triggers, no matter their age. For teachers, triggers could be something like students who talk a lot, people who argue back or make sarcastic comments. For students, triggers could be teachers that give tough love or speak bluntly because that's what motivated them when they were younger, and they think that's what's going to work for everyone.
Hey buddy, look, this is vague, clumsy, bland, overall, terrible essay. Just do better.
To deal with these triggers, there are a couple things we can do. Watch to see what causes your teacher to negatively react to things. This will help you identify their triggers, and from there you can make an active attempt to avoid setting them off. If your teacher triggers you, raise the issue without blame. Be polite and honestly discuss your feelings. Point to examples to illustrate your perspective and be as specific as you can. You could also give your teacher a chance to explain their perspective. Ask if there's anything you've done that has influenced their feelings or something you could do differently. Here's a template that might help. Hey teacher, sensei, champion, I noticed that you often say phrases like,
Yeah, look buddy, you're a bit useless with your organisation.
this makes me feel demotivated and hurt because my interpretation is that I'm a useless student and I can't improve. What I'd like you to say to me privately instead is,
Hey mate, hey, I've noticed that you struggle a little bit with organisation in class. That's something we can totally work on together if you like. I can show you some strategies and some tips. What do you reckon?
If your teacher doesn't react well to the above, you may be dealing with a full-blown asshole, or a code brown, if you will. You might think that you can do nothing in these situations, but you always have the power to choose your response to assholes. Reframing is a psychological technique which allows people to put their problems in a positive light. To do this, you can use the yes but strategy. For example, instead of my teacher's mad at me because they think I'm a useless student, you can say, well, yes, my teacher's mad at me, but it's only one class. Or, yes, but it's over a minor thing that does not really reflect my overall ability in this class. It's nothing more than a slight inconvenience. Another strategy is time travel. When you're facing somebody who is making you feel bad, reframe the moment to think about it like it's tonight and you're looking back at it. By detaching yourself from the situation and acting as an observer rather than a player, it can take the sting out. With the right frame of mind, you can lean back with some popcorn and even get into the drama.
now, if none of the above works, it might be a good idea to try and remove yourself from the situation. For example, you could sit at the back of the class, or you could talk to a dean about switching classes. If this is too daunting or doesn't work out, it might be worth getting your parents involved and developing a written complaint. Sometimes other people also feel the same way but are too scared to say anything. It might be worth speaking up and making your voice heard. To do this, gather specific evidence of your teacher's behaviour. Write down specific quotes and actions as they happen in a book. Include the date and time. Written evidence is stronger as it avoids they said situations. Once you've collated all the evidence, show it to an adult that you can trust, like a parent, dean, tutor or school counsellor. They can assist you with writing up the complaint and addressing the complaint to the right person.
Having a teacher that you don't get along with sucks, but remember that as with most things in school and in life, you have more power and control of your situation than you think you do. Ultimately, you can't control what your teachers do and don't do, but you can control how you respond next. It's time to level up and take control.
We hope you've learnt something from this video. Give us a like, share this one with your teacher, and subscribe for more tips on navigating your way through high school. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.